So I have been this past week. I've been listening to a bunch of. This is coming out of left field, by the way. I've been listening to a bunch of like different styles of music, like old timey stuff from the 60s, 50s, even older.
Oh, I love 50s. Yeah,
but also stuff like pirate shanties, which I'd absolutely love. They are so
pirate
much fun.
shanties. Is that a band?
No, it's a style of music.
Pirate shanties.
It's like on pirate ships when they're all on board doing raise the mainsail and all that. They would be singing and stuff. And so there's a lot of modern pirate shanties. Anyway, and like I've been listening to jazz and classical music, all that stuff. There is one genre of music that I'll die on this hill. Country music, modern country music is terrible.
Especially modern.
Terrible.
It's basically pop now with some elements of or even hip hop, and then with some elements of country in there. It's not even country anymore.
It's a bunch of rich dudes pretending that they work on a farm, and that kind of stuff drives me. The posing just drives me nuts.
They're just LARPing.
Yeah.
Totally.
I broke down my tractor.
But the majority of the country, all the radio stations are country stations. Even in California, when you drive.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Right?
And all my coworkers, of course, love country music. And so I think I've said this on the show. We share a speaker, like a Bluetooth speaker in the lab.
Yeah.
And they always are putting on country music. And I just have to, I have to concentrate so hard on what's going on in my headphones so it doesn't interrupt what I'm doing because it pisses me off that much.
Oh, I did not know that. Yeah, I'd be the same. That'd be complete torture for me.
But let's talk about more conspiracy things. Conspiracies about government. Conspiracies about UFOs and aliens. Conspiracies about mysterious illnesses that came out of a lab someplace in another part of the world that was funded by this part of the world.
Lots of conspiracies. This
is the Uncovering Anomalies podcast. And that, as always, is I Want to Believe Adam.
Hey, everyone.
And I am, it is I, Topher.
I wonder if I should get you to read like an Audible book.
I would love to. I have auditioned, because I did the voice acting thing. I auditioned to read like for audiobooks and stuff. I never got any, but I did a lot of podcasts and stuff like that. Like,
all right, maybe we'll try it out because we were just talking about this project that I'm doing. So maybe for the Audible part, you'll do you'll read the book.
Yeah, it'd be fun, man. I'd love to.
All right, cool. Nice. That would be fun. I want to do the podcast like I don't want to overproduce it, but I want to produce it. Like that one called Serial. You ever listen to that one?
Oh yeah, of course. The first season was really good, and then after that, it was kind of like
yeah. So I want the same energy of the first one. I mean, it's gonna be difficult, but that's the inspiration at least.
Yeah, I hear you.
So it's been a crazy week, Topher. I mean, we almost had World War III.
Fun stuff.
And there was is this going around now? And it's from Pepe Escobar. And Pepe Escobar, he's a known journalist, very connected, really credible. He says, according to Pepe Escobar, the Israelis tried to detonate a nuke above Iran and cause an EMP to destroy their electrical grids. So this is from Pepe Escobar. So he goes, an F-35 loaded with a nuclear bomb was sent east over Jordan. The mission caused a high-altitude detonation over Iran that would provoke a surge in the high-capacity power lines, crippling Iran's electrical grid, as well as disabling all electronic devices and EMP attack. However, as the Israeli F-35 was leaving Jordanian airspace, it was shot down by the Russian Air Force. Hence, the publicized version of the Israeli counter-response was such a travesty. In the end, all sides decided not to publicize the real news to de-escalate what could turn into World War III.
Now, does he say where he got his information?
He does. And of course, people are like going after him. Like Scott Ritter said that was ridiculous. So he goes, this is him. He's responding to Scott Ritter, who was telling him how ridiculous these claims were. And he goes, I am just a messenger of an extremely explosive intel leak relayed by an unimpeachable source, an Asian source. That's all I can reveal, he says. I I asked to surefire confirmation several times and only published the information when the source confirmed a big world power totally validated it, but would remain mum. The source also stressed there's a consensus among big powers that the information should be treated in, quote, this information will self-destruct in 5 seconds style. This never happened. And then there's another one. I mean, this is really crazy if it actually happened, but we would never know. We would never know. So this is today. Important update.
2 separate definitive confirmations from 2 ultra-high level intel sources from 2, keeps capitalizing the word 2, separate Asian nations. Working to get a third, at least a partial acknowledgement. He says he moved to Asia 30 years ago, built an unparalleled network, trust my top sources 1,000,000,000%. I'm honestly surprised that people are surprised. Do they really think if something like this happened, it's going to be presented to them in front of their TVs? It's like history has taught them nothing. Well, I'm skeptical of this story, but I understand a journalist's need to keep their sources secret.
Right. And it could be an op too against him.
Yeah. Like it does feel kind of like pro-Russian propaganda, but I don't know how much they would truly benefit from something like this.
I know it is weird, but this happened. There was a live stream 3 days ago, so a day before the attacks, not the day of the attacks, a day before, and our nuclear forces went on high alert. So they probably knew this was happening. Like everyone thought it was weird that this happened.
Tango, November, Delta. I say again, 1 message of 4 items follows. Stand by. 1 Tango.
And this went on for 8 hours, and the guy stayed up live streaming this radio. The night after, when it did happen, there was nothing. It was radio silence when Israel actually hit Iran or whatever they did. So it's weird that the night before we were, if we did know that Israel was going to do this, then that would make sense why we went on high alert, because everyone was thinking, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, there was a lot of military action this past week, which was kind of scary. There's a lot of really interesting stuff going on.
Yeah, so it does add to that maybe something like this did happen or was going to happen, and it was thwarted. So it just adds to it. Again, we can't really find out, but it's crazy news if the Russians actually did that and kept it down and kept us out of World War III. I mean, that would have been we wouldn't be doing this show.
Yeah,
and so much predictive programming, like with Fallout, Civil Wars coming out.
I think it's out already, isn't it?
Oh, is it?
I don't know. I've heard mixed reviews. Some people like it, some people don't. As is perfectly fits with the theme of Civil War.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Who's directing it? Is this
Alex Garland, I believe, and I think he's the one who also directed Arrival. Have you seen that? You've seen that movie? Right?
Oh yeah, that's a great movie.
Yeah,
it's a really good movie. Okay, so it might be good. I guess depending on what the story is.
I think one of the biggest complaints I've heard is you have no idea why the war is really happening. It's not really about that. It's just about like what would happen during the Civil War, but there's no like reason provided as to what's going on. I think that's the complaint I've heard.
Like there's no context really.
Yeah.
All right. So now, and there has been, you sent me this, and there has been, we've seen it from multiple angles and institutions and NGOs, that there's been a war on free speech. And now this lady here is saying that that the mission of Wikipedia is on the principles of white male westernized construct. So it's like white supremacy. Like a free and open internet, it's white supremacy. Basically.
Yeah, I'm getting really sick of hearing that dumbass excuse every time it comes up. Math is racist. Freedom is racist. It's just like, it's such a dumb. Being on time is racist. Like such a cop out. No actual thought excuse to use. That's why I hate all these stupid ass buzzwords that are just thrown out willy nilly just to shut a conversation down. Oh, you don't like that? You're a transphobe. Oh, you don't like that? You're sexist. Oh, you don't like that? You're a bigot. And then conversation shuts down. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, it's working less and less, right, to be called names, but it used to work much better.
Yeah.
So this is Katharina Maher.
I started by talking about the idea of free and open as some of our founding principles, sort of free and open source coming from the idea of the open source community. Well, I have come to the opinion and the perspective that free and open was a way of looking at the world that was inherently limited relative to what we were trying to achieve. Free and open has the best of intentionality, but in the end, what free and open often ended up doing, and particularly in the case of Wikipedia, was really recapitulating many of the same power structures and dynamics that exist offline prior to the advent of the internet. And so what we ended up seeing was Wikipedia really rebuilt this idea of knowledge as a whole around what the Western canon. You see the exclusion of communities, of languages, because of the ways in which Wikipedia is based on reliable sources. The idea of a written tradition is something that is particular to the idea of a written tradition, which is particular to some cultures and not to others. The ways in which we ascribe notability often really comes from sort of this white male westernized construct around who matters in societies and who is elevated in whose voices. And so some of these ideas of sort of this radical openness really did not end up with the intention, really did not end up living into the intentionality of what openness can be.
Oh, so openness is bad for you, is what she's saying.
It's racist.
Yes, and it's dangerous. Did you see also? Yeah, what's his name? Hancock was on Joe Rogan with a debate. Because remember he was called white supremacist for his show, and the guy was telling him that it's because he used sources that could be conveyed as white supremacy, which is that Atlantis was white, and that so they're trying to blame, saying because he used those sources, historical sources, then he's pushing white supremacy.
I'm so sick of these people being in charge of anything, where they get to say what's racist and what's not. And truthfully, they end up going full circle. Like I always think of the voter ID stuff. They say, they'll say something like, "Oh, black people can't get IDs as easy as white people can," and you dig into it, and their answer truly is, "Well, they're just not smart enough to get it." And it's like, well, don't you understand how racist you're being by saying that? And you're calling me the racist by wanting voter ID?
Right, exactly. Yeah, them acting like that is being racist.
Yeah, exactly.
Them just labeling people with a broad stroke because of the color of their skin is racist. It just is.
Exactly what racism is.
Yeah. So I don't get it either. All right, so just getting back into UFOs, the lawmakers push for answers in classified UFO briefing. The briefing happened, but I'm going to play this quickly, then we can get Tim Burchett's opinion about the meeting, which was funny.
Place on Capitol Hill today, but this one in secret, as members of the House Caucus on Unidentified Aerial Phenomena, commonly known as UFOs, are meeting with Defense Department officials in charge of investigating those flying objects. Today's classified briefing is the latest push to get answers about the unexplained. Correspondent Joe Khalil live for us there at the Capitol. Joe, what do we know about today's meeting?
Well, it's going to happen in about less than an hour's time. In one of the rooms close behind us now, there is going to be this classified briefing with just a few members of the House Republican and Democratic UAP caucus. This is a bipartisan group. The briefing is going to be done by members of AARO, Tim Phillips and Major General David Abba. These are two people from AARO, which is the wing of the Pentagon that investigates and looks into UAP or UFO reports. What is going to be talked about in that room is classified. So we likely are not going to get details or a specific readout of what's discussed. What we know generally is that the topic is UFOs or UAPs and the government's ongoing probe into what is in our area.
I mean, they said there's nothing to it, right? So why is there still such a classified meeting? Well, I mean,
we know the reason. Because there is something to it, obviously. Everyone with a half a brain knows that there is.
Right, exactly. And that, I mean, not many people use that report as like proof that there isn't. It's just proof that it's corrupt.
Mm-hmm.
So they asked Tim Burchett.
Received, rather, a classified briefing on unidentified anomalous phenomena, commonly known as UFOs. It comes as lawmakers continue to push for transparency from the Pentagon. Good luck. Joining us now is Republican Congressman Tim Burchett. He attended that classified briefing. Congressman, Great to see you and talk with you as always. Thanks for being back with us here on the Hill. So it's classified. I know you can't get into details. We get that. We understand it. But after being in that briefing and now you're out of it, were you satisfied with what you heard?
No, it's always compartmentalized. We can't get to certain things. It's, you know, I don't really think of these people are lying. I think there's a lot of arrogance that kind of whirls around this so-called intelligence community. But what they do is they've compartmentalized it so that each department, they can only answer your question up to a certain point, and you can't get everybody in the skiff at the same time to answer the question. So no, I mean, I literally, I was almost falling asleep in the meeting. It was just so mundane and boring, and a lot of the things they told us, you know, they explained some things that went on that were just like, okay, well then why are you having to tell us this in the skiff? Why can't you tell the American public that? And you know, it's just
so. Do you think all
complete disinformation? Go ahead.
Do you think your time spent on this, because there's a lot of time that you and the rest of the UAP caucus have spent to try to get answers, and every time I speak with you, Congressman, when you go to these classified briefings, you walk out and you're disappointed. And I wonder if you think that this is a waste of time. Do you feel that there's a cover-up going on, something in between? What is it?
Yeah, I think there's a cover-up. You know, there's tens of millions of dollars that we spend investigating these things. We've had departments tell us that they have recovery units, but yet they won't release full reports. Everything's covered up. You know, your reports look like somebody shot it with a 12-gauge shotgun. I think there's a cover-up. What it is, I don't know. You know, I've said many times, it's not about the little green men or the flying saucers. It's about what the heck are they spending all this dadgum money on, and why won't they release it? That's the real questions that need to be asked.
Oh man, yeah, it's always the same thing. Doesn't he get sick of it though? Like, it is kind of a waste of time. I wonder if they're doing that on purpose.
He's sick of it. You can tell how annoyed he is.
Yeah,
just having to answer these questions. And it must be the most frustrating experience ever. Because yeah, he's going about it the right way, where he's not it's not really about the UFOs or the aliens. It's about where is this money going? Right. And of course, you know, the other part of the government is saying, "Oh, it's classified. We can't tell you." But it's not about UFOs. It's not about aliens. We have recovery teams, but we're not recovering UFOs.
Yeah, we're recovering something, and we're working on something. All right, where's that stuff? Where's that technology?
Oh, we can't tell you. It's classified.
Well, this is a good clip also about, you know, the reasons of why it's secret. You know, I kind of agree with Peter Levenda here, but not totally. Let's take a listen.
You remember, to go back to the movie JFK, the Donald Sutherland figure, based on Fletcher Prouty. Sutherland tells Kevin Costner, Jim Garrison, what is the first responsibility of any government? What's the organizing principle of government? It's national defense. Mm-hmm. That's like, government has to defend the people. If you can't defend your people, you have no legitimacy as a government. So take that and port that to this discussion now. And this discussion that we're having now is also about national defense. The problem is, because the government does not know what the hell this is, they can't defend us from it. And that casts their idea of sovereignty, of national sovereignty, into complete chaos, into doubt. If they cannot protect us from it, then what is their purpose, right? Why do we keep following the government? So they can't come out and admit how little they really know. They know more than we know, right? Or they have more data. They may not know more than we know, but they have more data. Obviously, we saw from the videos they have more data. Do they have a crashed vehicle? Possibly. If they do, how has that been kept away from us for all this time? Is it just a piece of metal they don't know what to do with? Or is it something really sophisticated? What is it? We don't know. So they have more data. I'm sure, however, they don't really have the key, the answer to this situation. They can't come out and say, we know what this is. We know where they're from. We know, all of this. I think they don't. I think that's the secret. The secret is they don't. The emperor has no clothes, okay? We think that they're defending us. I think all of this, but a UFO can show up anywhere at any time over any military base, as they've been doing, over a farmhouse in Ohio, anywhere they want to. There's no stopping them. There's no shooting them down, right? There's no protecting people against it. We can't predict when they're going to show up. We can't predict what they're going to look like when they show up, right? They have all different kinds of sizes and shapes. We can't predict what kind of effect it's going to have on cattle, on people, on the land. We have no way of knowing any of this. That's demonstrable.
Well, what do you think of that?
Yeah, I can see his point. Just at the end there when he was saying we have no idea what they look like, that's true. I mean, of course we've got all the different stories and leaks and rumors coming out about what aliens we've been interacting with, but I just had a really, really funny thought. Maybe someone can make this into like a little short YouTube thing. This big, beautiful UFO lands on the White House lawn, and everyone's lined up ready to take pictures. And the thing that steps out resembles like a clown. Not like a scary clown, like a Ronald McDonald type clown. Hi, everybody.
We're like a Bozo the Clown.
Yeah. We're from the planet Zeepzorp. And like how stupid and funny. Like that would be that would be one of the funniest things I think that could ever happen. But the universe,
you make it really dramatic too when it's opening and it's coming down.
Yeah, and like the universe is really funny like that. Maybe it's like this big, really scary looking warship, and it's got all these guns and stuff.
Right. Yeah.
And we're not sure what's happening, and then it comes down and lands, and this is. The big door opens, and the ramp falls out, and then a bunch of clowns start walking out. I just think I'd be like, yeah, that totally makes sense.
That'd be hilarious, man. I bet you AI could do that. Just put the scenes together.
Yeah.
The multiple scenes. Because I think you can do videos now. They're like 2 seconds or 3 second clips, like something like that.
I've been meaning to mess around with AI. It's just, I don't know. I don't know. It may be something I might look into because I think that's a really, really funny idea.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is. I don't think I have access to that one on my Chat GPT because there's they have 2 tiers. So the one for video clips, I think it's a higher tier.
I think, and you have to pay for it, right? And I'm
right.
I'm squeezing pennies right now, so I'm not looking to shell out some money.
So this also came out. Former CIA officer unveils UFOs have killed U.S. military and caused brain damage. This is on Tweaktown. Yeah, and it's not the typical guy. I thought it would be either Davis or I thought it was Nolan actually when they said former, but he's not really CIA. This guy is named Professor Christopher Green.
A forensic neuroimaging expert who worked at the CIA since the 1960s said in 2010 he was asked by an unnamed government defense program, shocker it's unnamed, that was tasked with monitoring UFOs to write a paper on the injuries military personnel received after encountering an anomalous craft or UAP. The doctor has said he has dealt with hundreds of patients that range from special forces officials and other military servicemen, with some of these patients later dying. Yeah, I mean, this doesn't really surprise me. Some of it is probably the aliens going like, oh, here, eat some radiation. You'll like that. We eat it all the time. And then they don't understand what they're doing to us. And then other times I think it's, it's one of those things where the human brain and human body just can't comprehend what's happening to it, and it causes injury.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Exactly. These are machines that are extremely advanced, right? I mean, probably people should not be around it. I mean, he says here, the doctor said, it appears some of the injuries were caused when a person got too close to subtle, high-powered, highly modulated microwaves. With his study finding that servicemen could have been blasted by a powerful radio or electromagnetic frequencies from the propulsion systems of these objects.
Yeah, it's like the Havana syndrome.
Yeah,
that's what that reminds me of.
Right. Entirely possible advanced human technology could have caused the injuries experienced by these military personnel, as humans have the technological capabilities to do so.
We do.
Yeah. So it's not totally alien. So yeah, I guess he wrote a paper about it too.
I'm just like hundreds is a lot.
Yeah. That's
crazy. I mean, it's so frustrating. Our government's so frustrating because what do you imagine, your son, your cousin, your brother, whatever, they go off to war and they get injured by a UFO. What do you think they just get told, oh yeah, the Afghanis got them, the ISIS.
Well, That's exactly why these papers came out, because there was a vet who was denied veteran assistance because it was classified what injured him. So the only way that they approved funding his medical bills was when they got the FOIA documents that he was injured. So yeah, that's what happens because it's classified. Also, they don't even take care of them.
Yeah. Oh, trust me. I mean, I don't know how many more stories we need about how horrible our vets are treated in this country. It's just absolutely pathetic. Our government's a failure at every opportunity. Every opportunity, they are complete failures.
Yeah, and just for secrecy and for national security. Who cares about the human element?
Right.
So he goes,
but let's keep spending money and human lives to go fight these pointless wars.
Oh yeah, and spend it on weapons just to kill poor people.
Yeah, Jesus.
This was really cool. So he's an underwater explorer. His name is Scott Castle. He's not a UFO guy at all. And this is a really long interview. It's not a UFO interview, but there is a part in this where he talks about an encounter with this golden cube.
Is it just is the text up above the summary of it? Because we can just read that and link the video if you're okay with that.
Sure, yeah.
Underwater explorer Scott Castle describes a chilling encounter with a mysterious gold cube-shaped USO during a dive. The cube, 3 feet in dimension and illuminated from within, moved intelligently and emitted a bizarre shifting light. He recalls hearing a deep rumbling sound that seemed close by, akin to a machine moving massive. Oh, I skipped a line. I'm sorry. And emitted a bizarre shift. Okay, sorry. Let me. I went down one extra line. Okay. So the cube's 3 feet in diameter, it's gold, glowing from inside, moved intelligently and emitted a bizarre shifting light. He recalls hearing a deep rumbling sound that seemed close by, akin to a machine moving massive boulders before the object came into view. Castle, who has over 15,000 hours of undersea exploration, felt a profound fear as the cube mimicked his speed before swiftly departing without disturbing the water. This encounter led to a significant loss of a $50,000 sponsorship for Castle.
Yeah, pretty cool.
This is why they always say seeing UFOs, it ruins your life.
Yeah, and it didn't even, like you said, it didn't disturb the water, nothing. It just moved, like you said, effortlessly.
And moved intelligently too, which I'm not, I guess that just means it wasn't floating. It was kind of zooming around the water.
Right. And then there was this one. People are saying it's a Michelin Man, but or is it a flying humanoid? So flying humanoid stabilized. Witness one. This is Sequoia Park, California.
It does look like the Michelin Man.
It's holding its position straight up and down.
Sharing that could be is a balloon of a stormtrooper, but this thing was really far.
Maybe it's just reflecting the sunlight, but wow. It does look like it has a slight glow to it, but I'm looking at it. And I think I see a shadow on the back. That could just be reflecting the sunlight.
Yeah, I think it's really zoomed in too. I mean, it's just bizarre looking, and there it is. You can see that it's like a jetpack.
Yeah, I mean, you remember the jetpack craze that was going on around LA about a year ago?
Yeah, they kept seeing him.
Yeah,
kept seeing him pass by,
and they still ended up deciding that was a balloon.
What?
Yeah, don't you remember? It was like a car store like promotional balloon, they think.
Oh no, I didn't know that. But didn't it show up like once in a while or every like few
why
weeks?
It's such a stupid. It's just another dumb thing, but it got everyone to stop talking about it.
So here's witness 2. See, it's really far away. So,
but it's clearly humanoid shapes.
Is it a cross? Heck no, it's not a cross. What is that?
Yeah.
Like a. Let me see it.
What the hell? It does look like a person, just a person floating.
Like
it does, yeah. And spinning, slightly rotating.
Looks like Iron Man.
Sequoia Park, where is that?
What the heck?
Sequoia Park, that's up north, right near San Francisco.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah, Sequoia National Park. That's the redwoods.
Oh, okay. Love the redwood forest. So beautiful.
Oh, me too. Look at that thing. You think it's like Blue Beam or something?
That's a very good theory.
Yeah, I mean,
I have no godly idea what to think about this. Maybe they are testing out Project Bluebeam.
Seeing it straight up and down.
It's Witness 3.
Okay, I'm recalibrating, refocusing. Okay, you're low.
So 3 different people, 3 different locations.
Okay, center cross. Looks like a cross.
Looks like a cross.
I mean, I could see that. To the
Yeah, but it just shows you how subjective things are.
Yeah.
Right.
At the top and like,
that's why, for Bluebeam, why people, it could be Jesus or Buddha, or it'll be a subjective experience, personal experience.
Oh, this one's amazing. Okay.
Anyway, very weird sighting, but I don't think there's much else to see here.
This is from the past.
Yeah, I remember that one. That one was weird.
Yeah, so muted words, Bluebeam. Oh yeah, so these guys, nothing new, debunked in my timeline in 2016. They're saying this is the stormtrooper.
So this is not the same footage. This is
no.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a stormtrooper.
You know, I have to say this does look remarkably similar.
Right? Yeah, the arms are different. Like these arms are tucked in, those arms were tucked out, but it could have come loose, I guess. You know, he goes, look at the 2 videos; they're the same to you.
Oh God, let's not go through a Twitter argument.
And then there's this. Some have said it's a flock of birds, but come on.
Yeah, this one was absolutely bizarre. I don't see how that could be a flock of birds.
Because they don't know what else it could be. And it's not going to be a spaceship, so it's a flock of birds. Anything but the spaceship.
Here's the thing about science fiction and like science fiction movies is they're taking a guess or an approximation of what they think it would look like. But this looks exactly like something you would see out of a movie. The way it moves all smoothly and uniform like that.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, that is really, really weird footage. I don't know
what's it. Yeah. And it goes behind the tree, and that's where they're like, oh, it's got to be a flock of birds. Again, birds don't fly at night, especially not flocks of them.
They do sometimes, actually, but
I've never seen a flock of them.
You know all those parrots that are around here? I hear them. Yeah, do you not know what I'm talking about?
Like the crows?
No, they're parrots.
No,
you don't hear them. Oh my God, they're so loud and obnoxious. Oh wait, go up. I kept seeing this. How the hell do you get into this pool?
Which one? Oh, this one. Oh, it's an ad.
No, I know, but I saw it online earlier this week. It's a 360 degree infinity pool. And so I don't know how you're supposed to get into it because it's on the top of a skyscraper or something, right?
Is there a portal? Not a portal. Like
no, that was the joke I kept seeing is how do you get in there?
Cybertruck. I saw a Cybertruck yesterday. Really cool in person. Really
I've seen a couple now. There are a lot of I think they look really cool. One of my coworkers, she thinks she goes, it's the ugliest thing I've ever seen. I go, no way, it looks like from the future. It's so cool.
Yeah. Even reminds me of the DeLorean, the Back to the Future car.
Yeah. Anyway,
isn't it bulletproof too?
It's supposed to be. I don't know if that ever ended up happening or not.
Oh, okay. So apparently there's a new whistleblower also coming out. He will appear in the James Fox's documentary. In the new documentary, he was speaking in an X space. They have some bullet points. So he says he's a first-hand whistleblower and is whistleblowing his first-hand knowledge of this phenomenon. Any connection to classified programs needs to be discussed in this GIF. All right. Is that the excuse for not telling? Because
I don't know why. I don't even know why. Like, I don't even know why whistleblowers would even deal with that. I mean, let's just cut out the government from UFO investigations at this point. It's clear that they're willfully ignorant or they're lying. Most likely, or they're both.
Yeah.
So let's bypass them. That's what. Who is it? Who was trying to start this guy with the crazy hair, the cool hair? Trying to start like a civilian UFO research.
Oh thing. Yeah, Sheehan.
Yeah.
Danny Sheehan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and his skiff has to be approved too, so it's like a way to get around them not saying evidence.
We just watched that clip with Burchett,
at
a skiff, and he said he's falling asleep because nothing's getting accomplished.
Well, this guy's also willing to publicly testify in hearings and has made this known to Congress. He has given Yeah, it says he has given testimony to the Senate and House. Each time he's spoken to them, there has been at least 7 individuals present. He stood 3 foot from a blue-skinned humanoid. Crash retrieval programs are legit. Multiple craft and NHI, tangible, physical. So not just, the spiritual. And then rumor is that the reptiles are the malevolent beings,
which we've always known.
Yep, and some NHI seem benevolent enough. Some NHI tolerate us. Some NHI don't like us, but aren't malicious. Some NHI help us, but are only up to a point because we can't handle the power of the tech.
Oh God! No, it's not daddy government; it's daddy aliens.
Yeah, it's definitely a hierarchy in this universe.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
We are squarely at the bottom.
Yes, yeah, we are.
He personally wants people to know that we aren't alone, but there is caution in letting people know that they are actively engaging humanity in ongoing contact because they don't know the full extent.
Oh. When will you reveal the name of the programs? When will this be public? I would say it would occur when the Fight Club of Whistleblowers is finally able to meet and piece this all together amongst ourselves. I only have a piece of the puzzle, and I'm sure others have other pieces. Grush has a better handle on what a lot of the others have to say, as he has spoken to others who are part of different parts of the program. Man,
wow.
I mean, all right. So he's going to be in James Fox's documentary first, and then I guess maybe Congress when they have hearings again.
Mm-hmm.
There are agreements, he's saying, between humans and NHI.
Yeah, I was just reading that. Cooperative efforts, yeah. So it means we're working with aliens is what he's getting at. And he also mentions the underground facilities, which we also know they'll say that's the big one, but probably not the biggest one, just the one we're aware
all
of.
over the country. All over the country. Mm-hmm. And yeah, they're probably all connected, all those military bases too.
Yeah, actually one of the links I sent you earlier talks about that.
Yeah. Rogan was on Carlson was on Rogan this week.
Yeah, I saw that.
They discussed UFOs. Here in this clip, he thinks they're all spiritual entities. Now we know Tucker has become pretty religious in the past years, or more than before. So he sees these things as spiritual beings. So this Burchett, I think he thinks they're aliens or supernatural.
Yeah, one of the common tropes that I kept seeing this week on the UFO and conspiracy subreddits, there's a lot of talk about the Nephilim and giants and stuff like that, because they kept looking at like ancient hieroglyphs or ancient pictures by the Aztecs and stuff like that, and it always show humans bowing down to these incredibly tall humanoid creatures.
Yeah, he sent a link too of like a 10-foot tall skeletons that were found also.
Yeah, I mean stuff like that, very, very popular this week. But yeah, let's hear it.
So they're from here, and they've been here for thousands of years, whatever they are. And it's pretty clear to me that they're spiritual entities, whatever that means. They're supernatural, and which is to say, supernatural means above the natural.
Just really quick. I mean, back it up just a little bit too when we're done. He says spiritual beings, whatever that means. So it sounds like to me he was told they were spiritual beings, but he's not aware of how that ties into. So I'm curious about what do you think a spiritual being is?
I mean, probably some being that can be in this reality and ones that are really close to us, like different frequencies. Like I guess that we call it different dimension, but how our eyes can't see the entire spectrum. So it means that they can go in and out of that spectrum. So one that we can't see, I think that's what they call it, spiritual, because it's like a realm we can't see, and then our realm is a 3D world. So I think that's what it has to do. These beings can do that.
Yeah, somehow. I mean that totally makes sense.
I mean, they can go through windows and and walls, and when people are abducted, there's also lots of stories of that also happening. Where they're taken through windows, but the windows are not even open.
Right.
So it's something with their technology, maybe. I mean, also he says they're supernatural.
I think that's just they're highly technological and a technology we can't understand. I don't know if that makes them supernatural.
Right. Maybe. To us it does.
Nature, and they don't behave according to the laws of science as measured by people, and they've been here for a long time. And there's a ton of evidence they're under the ocean and under the ground. So, like, with that fact set, what do you conclude? So they're from here, and they.
Well, he also says they're from here because he thinks that we haven't never detected any of them coming from space, which there are lots of those stories. And then they talk about Kona Blue. So, I mean, Kona Blue, do you know what that is?
I don't. The proposed DHS special access program designed to reverse engineer UFOs. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so they leaked that document. And here's Coulthard talking about it. We can go through the presentation too. It's really cool.
Yeah,
presentation to DHS. So you want to hear Coulthard quickly?
Yeah,
and then maybe look at that presentation. Okay.
Ross, to these declassified, now newly declassified documents in Kona Blue.
Good evening, Elizabeth. Well, look, it does sound sci-fi, but I can tell you there are people inside the Defense Department, former and serving, who do believe that the claims made in the Kona Blue documents were authentic. But that's vigorously disputed, of course, by the AARO, the Pentagon's UAP investigation team. They did their historical review and published a few weeks ago, and they said, yes, there was this code name Kona Blue program that was proposed, never implemented, but proposed as a special access program, one of the deepest, darkest secrets in the US government. And they claim at AARO that, of course, they investigated and they found no evidence to support claims of retrieved non-human technology. All I can tell you, Elizabeth, is that we now have a very clear difference of opinion inside the Defense Department and also inside the intelligence community.
So he's saying that DNI, which is the Department of National Intelligence, it's a central location that gathers all the intelligence. They didn't comment on AARO's conclusion or paper because they're the ones who released the Kona Blue, and they're the ones who are working on OSAP and ATIP. That was all DNI. So there's like a shift between the DoD and the intelligence community, or DNI, about this information and telling people or not.
Yeah, we've kind of touched on this on the show many times, but there does seem to be a schism happening slowly but surely.
Yeah, so here it is. This is that Kona Blue declassified. It was a proposal to DHS and they wanted a special access program for a crash retrieval program. So these were all top secret. This project will investigate, identify, and analyze sensitive information, advanced materials, and technologies to increase the basic knowledge of potential emerging and/or disruptive scientific and technical data.
This project addresses basic, applied, and advanced research and technology demonstrations in order to identify and anticipate threats to the U.S. homeland. That's a good way to code it.
Yeah.
Unified approach will be used for data collection and analysis, advanced technology acquisition, applied technology theory demonstration, and consciousness studies. Ooh, there we go.
Yeah.
Slipping that one in there at the end.
What is the research needed? The congressional. So I think this was again as part of Henry Reid and those guys.
What? Sorry, when was Kona Blue? When was this proposed? Does it say at the top?
That is a good question. Is this here? Was it? So it's released 2024, 2023.
I think this is just. Yeah, I was just saying that's when they released it, but yeah, February 10th, 2012. Well.
Yeah, so it goes through all that, but the link with consciousness is amazing too, because they want to do consciousness and remote viewing also.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not like our government hasn't done that. I mean, it's not classified anymore. I mean, that's just public knowledge. The CIA used remote viewing all the time. They're obsessed with it back in the day.
And there's ATIP is in here.
Yeah, they probably still do remote viewing.
Yeah. So this document also vindicated ATIP and OSAP and Louis Elizondo.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, so
I never got the impression he was lying, so it's good to see there's a little.
Yeah, it is good to see him because he's been attacked so much, man, like so much. So basically, because that document ATIP was a real program, sister program to OSAP with some crossover. So what this shows is that Susan Goad lied to the American public about ATIP plus OSAP plus Elizondo's role and continues to do so to this very day if asked.
Oh, geez. What a
Sad to see,
shocker.
man.
It's
Yeah,
really, I'm not even, I went through like the depression phase of this a long time ago. I've been in the anger stage for a very long time now. Like basically little in like right when we were starting the podcast is when I switched over from being like, oh man, it sucks government doesn't do this, and then goes to kill the government. They're the worst. I hate them. I truly hate them.
Yeah, and what's the steps of grief or something?
The 5 stages of, I think it's the 5 stages of 5 stages of grief. It's denial, bargaining. I know the last one's acceptance. I know anger's in there.
Yeah, anger's definitely in there. Yeah, I think maybe anger's second, right? Or is it third?
I think it's third. I think it's denial. Then I think it's what did
Acceptance?
I just say? No. Acceptance is
denial.
Compromise or whatever the hell it's called, where you're trying to make a deal. I just said the word.
Oh yeah, make a deal. Bargain.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Denial, bargaining, anger, and then depression, maybe, and then acceptance, I think.
Yeah, so we're just going through the steps.
Yeah, but I already did depression. Now I'm going backwards, I guess.
Because we keep getting teased. It's a cycle.
Also, that's been debunked, right? The 5 steps of grief.
Oh, has it?
Yeah. It was a good theory. Okay, so it's denial. You're right. Anger second. Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. Okay, so I had them all. I had all 5. I just didn't have them in the right order. But yeah, it's largely been debunked. Well, really, the truth is everyone goes through grief in their own ways. That's all it is.
Yeah, some people get angry first.
Yeah.
So Louis Elizondo was just vindicated by the DOD Aero in a declassified DHS document. Huge blow for people contradicting this fact of the last few years. It finally ends today.
No, it doesn't.
Man. Well, yeah, I mean,
it should, but our government, this is what I'm talking about. Our government sucks.
Green Street will be doing some new articles, I'm sure, about it now.
He's gonna say this is some fake AI generated thing.
Yeah, don't believe it. This is gonna blow your mind. Did you read this when I sent it to you?
I believe so, but it was early in the week, wasn't it? So I don't remember what it said. Jeff Bezos' grandfather was a naval officer during World War II who moved to leadership in the Atomic Energy Commission's Division of Military Applications, and from there helped found DARPA, working on, quote unquote, space technology and ballistic missile defense. He went back to lead AEC's Albuquerque operations office and then was confirmed by Congress to run the entire western region for the AEC, a network that included thousands of scientists at Los Alamos, Sandia, and the Livermore labs. That is critical context for this revelation by the distinguished Dr. Malmgren?
Yeah.
That he, quote, had met and engaged with Jeff Bezos' grandfather at Los Alamos in 1963 when I was a leader of costing the design and build of first anti-missile defense systems for the JCS. Hearing from him his alleged work on reverse engineering of UAP objects. End quote.
Reverse engineering of UAP objects.
Malmgren, the guy whose quote that was, he's credentialed and experienced as any security official in modern American history. Cool.
Yeah. So and it's because you know how UAP is not allowed to be disclosed because they're all under the Atomic Energy Act, right? Secrecy Act of 1951. Mm-hmm. So Bezos' grandfather worked for these programs in DARPA in these special access programs. And look, he's one of the richest men on the planet. You know, it's like I'm not saying that he told him stuff, but when you have this kind of culture in families that understand the universe differently than others do, you know, you can steer people without really telling them any secrets. And
I
don't think it's an accident that Jeff Bezos knew about the internet and the potential of it, and created Amazon and convinced shareholders for losses. They had billions of dollars of losses every single year. I think for 10 years. He convinced me, don't worry, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And they knew that he knew.
Kaboom.
And then boom. Yeah, exactly. So
I'm old enough to remember when Amazon just sold books.
Yeah, it was only books. Exactly. It's a crazy story, Amazon. Now the guy has his own space company.
Yeah. Asshole.
Right? Blue Horizon, is that what it's called?
I believe Amazon is Blue Horizon, yes.
Yeah,
or the
Blue
other way
Horizon.
around, whatever.
So that's a crazy bit of knowledge there. This is the tunnels.
Oh yeah, perfect.
Link
I
that
sent
you
this one
sent.
to you. The entire the only thing I'm not, it was pointed out in the comments, and I was kind of like, yeah, that's a good point. So the title of the video is "The Entire Earth is being linked by tunnels again. It happened in the past and now again." And I'm laughing, and one of the comments brought up, and I thought it was a really good point. Again? Why? How? So they broke up.
It happened in the past. Oh, it happened in the past.
What? They built all the tunnels and then shut them, like collapsed them and then rebuilt them?
The catacombs. Yeah, I mean, I don't think this clip talks about the older tunnels. It happened.
No,
in the past,
but I
now
mean,
again.
this has been a very common theory, and it's not even a theory at this point. It's fact. The U.S. I know just the U.S. government alone has spent so much money building underground bunkers and bases and tunnels. I mean, there are these machines. I think the boring, what's it called, boring machine?
Yeah,
they basically are giant drills on wheels.
Yeah.
You know, and they shove them in the side of a mountain, and that's how they drill their tunnels.
Yeah, and they build, and it happens quickly too. They're really quick at doing it.
Yeah,
but yeah, we have tons of. They're called DUMBs, deep underground military bases. And yeah, and that's why they don't care. They don't care about nuclear war or nuclear holocaust because they'll just go underground.
Yeah, it doesn't affect them at all.
They do not care. That if they go on, This has all been planned since the 80s, even. Continuity of government. I think Dick Cheney is the one who worked on that. And if anything happens, our government has a complete plan to survive any nuclear war underground for decades. It's kind of like Fallout in a way, but except Fallout is more private. Although they're saving it, they're saving America, right?
I don't know if you how far you are in the games or the books. It's not very private.
Well, yeah. So I'm getting to that now in the series, showing the connection.
When we get to Topher's Media Corner, we got to talk about it.
It's such a cool series, and I think I'm on number 6.
I really enjoyed it. I really did.
So, and this guy, apparently in 1986, Dr. Joe Dispenza, he was injured while participating in a triathlon in Palm Springs. And seriously, this is real. The guy, he broke 6 vertebrae in his spine. And then doctors said he would never walk again. But he healed himself with his mind without any surgery.
I think I remember hearing about this when I was in. So, as we've discussed, still am not. I don't know. I like to think cynical, but I've been told negative. And my parents were having me read the book The Secret, and there's a movie they made. And I think it was this guy where basically he was paralyzed and he's lying in bed, and he was, by blinking, he messaged to the doctors. He goes, "I'm going to walk out of here by Christmas," and he did. And the whole point of the story was the power of the mind. And if you're positive and believe in yourself, you can do anything. I mean, that was what the book and the movie, that's the main theme. If you believe it, you can achieve it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not positive. I didn't check, but I think it was this guy.
Oh, so that movement comes from him?
No, that's just one of the stories about talking about how powerful the mind is.
Yeah, well, and they're right. I mean, that's why we have a placebo, because they have to test that out.
And a lot of people who take placebos thinking that their actual medication end up being cured. It's a bizarre theory, or a bizarre effect.
The power of the mind, and that's why we talk about consciousness, especially in the UAP industry, right?
Yeah.
Consciousness is real. It's part of the experience.
Yeah, it may not be tangible, but it sure as hell is real.
Yeah, I mean, quantum mechanics. Just look at that, how the power of the observer changes the experiment.
Mm-hmm.
So
this one absolutely shocked me.
Looks like Earth.
So it's a blurry picture of the moon of Saturn, Titan. One of the moons of Saturn, Titan. The title of this image is A Blurred Photo of Earth. Nope, this is Titan, Saturn's largest moon, captured by NASA's James Webb Telescope.
It looks just like the Earth.
It's incredibly blurry, but you can see blue, orange, brownish, green.
Yeah, green.
It looks like a blurry picture of Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, there's I mean, even in a lot of science fiction, there's been a lot of movies and books and stories and stuff about people living on Titan because they think it's livable. This certainly makes it seem like it does. Again, very blurry photo.
Yeah,
but you can definitely see the colors in it.
Who's this guy who keeps spamming?
He always does. I skip every time there's an article he posts. He's a mod, so he gets to post his comments and lock it. And he always posts something that's kind of almost barely
related.
Yeah, related. He's just another stupid Reddit mod.
So that's James Webb Telescope that took this image. Pretty cool, really cool. That's amazing.
Hopefully we get some clearer images.
I mean, didn't we send anything over to Titan? We went. What was it the Cassini? No, Cassini's Saturn, not Jupiter.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think Cassini just went over Saturn. I don't know if I got any pictures of. Actually, they crashed Cassini into the planet.
Yeah, it did some of the moons, not all of them. Maybe Titan was not one of them. Yeah, I don't know.
You know, for the only kind of recently, maybe like 10 years ago, I found out that the Russians landed a probe onto Venus and got to take pictures of the surface and stuff. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, in the 70s.
Yeah, I didn't know about that.
Yeah, I mean,
they never taught me that in school.
No? Well,
no.
Probably because it's the Russians.
Yeah, I guess. We were still doing that whole, I mean, when I was a little kid, because you don't learn about space stuff in college unless you're taking space classes.
True. Yeah.
When you're a little kid learning about space and stuff, like, you know, we were taught about Voyager and all the stuff about Mars, but we never learned about anything the Ruskies did. So this is the one we were referencing earlier. Scientists still baffled from giant human skeletons up to 10 feet tall, decades after initial discovery. Now, I'll admit this isn't a great article, but it is a very interesting concept nonetheless. I'll read this first sentence. A series of mysterious giant skeletons up to 10 feet tall, reportedly discovered in and around Nevada caves last century, dubbed the Giants of Lovelock, are still baffling scientists decades later. So we were talking about giants and the Nephilim. Yeah, we could probably go. Yeah. We could probably go visit.
Native American lore.
They also have stories about giants, the Native Americans.
Yeah.
I remember there's stories about the first colonists who came to America had multiple run-ins with giants.
That's crazy, man.
And there's also that great story out of the Second Gulf War when we were in Afghanistan about I don't know if it's true or not, but there's a bunch of stories about the giant that they found up in the hills of Afghanistan.
Oh yeah, that story. I love that story.
Yeah, me too.
The red-haired giant.
I was gonna say he had red hair.
Yeah. And they killed
the
helicopter pilot. Yeah, they killed it.
But the giant was throwing spears at him and killed a couple of soldiers, I think.
They saw bodies on spears.
Yeah.
That he was eating. So
very,
crazy.
very, very crazy.
I think six fingers, right? And 6 toes too.
I don't remember that part. Maybe it could be. Oh wait, what's that? Well, hold on. Go up. Scroll up just a little bit. No, just down a little bit. Nope. Down. Just like all the remains reportedly measured 8.5 and 10 feet respectively, and they were described as having red hair.
Whoa.
Although some experts believe the red tint of the hair could have been caused by exposure to the environment. I've never heard of that before.
All right.
The appearance of the skeletons dovetails with the Pauit. I don't know how to pronounce that. Pauit tribe stories about a group of giant red-headed barbarians known as the CTK.
Wow.
There we
Barbarians,
go.
Of course, always. Yeah. Red-head giants.
Yeah. Man, that was serendipitous.
I know, right? All right, cool. What do we have next? Oh, this was a crazy story you sent me.
Yeah.
So apparently she's a poacher.
Is that what the story was?
Yeah, that's what I read in the comments.
Okay, Maya Murmu, 68 years old, was collecting water when a herd of elephants rushed toward Murmu and crushed her. She died of her injuries on her way to the hospital. When the family members gathered for a funeral, a herd of elephants appeared, and one of them lifted Murmu's body and threw it into the air. They hated this woman.
Wow, even at the funeral.
I mean, we all know elephants are crazy smart. I'm going to have to hear the elephant side of this story before I jump to any conclusions. Oh, she was a known poaching guide.
Yeah.
She also stole that elephant's. Well, is this true or is this someone making a really stupid Reddit joke?
I mean, this is the Reddit joke. I'm going to dig her out and give her another toss then.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, how would we know?
I mean, okay, so it's funny because, they say elephants never forget, right? And it's one of those dumb sayings. You don't really put any, you don't really give any value. But I mean, this kind of proves that that little, proverb or whatever it's called is true.
Yeah, they don't forget, and they also mourn the death. So for them to come to the funeral instead of mourn her, just toss her again. It's just
it's pretty wild. Well, I mean, I think a lot of animals are smarter than we give them credit for. I mean, I've seen my parents' dog. I've seen him respond to commands that typically no dog would. You would think no dog would know how to do. Like my parents would always say, go get your brother. That's what they call the dog, my little brother.
Uh-huh.
And so if they ever tell him, go get your brother, go get Topher, he'll run to me and come get me. Like he'll poke me with his nose and stare at me. And that's how I know he wants something. And then my cat, when I went to college and came back, she hated me. She barely would let me pet her.
Yeah.
She was upset that I'd left her.
For how long? Did she ever forgive you, or she just stayed that way?
Well, she jumped off my parents' balcony, maybe like, I don't know, 3/4 through the second semester I was at school, my freshman year.
Man.
Yeah,
they hold grudges.
Yeah, you remember Missy, the one with thumbs?
Yeah, I remember it.
She was such a sweet cat.
They're all cool cats.
They are. Yours is a little wild though. I don't know.
It comes from upbringing. Poor thing. So risk. There's another more fear.
Yeah, here we go. You can tell election season is ramping up because they're bringing in the next virus to come in.
Bird flu now spreading to humans is enormous concern, says WHO.
And we all know the WHO has everyone's best interests at heart. They don't lie.
No.
And they're great, and they never do anything wrong.
So the H5N1 variant has extraordinarily high mortality rate in humans. So we're getting warned that we could be seeing another pandemic, I guess. But they're just warning us.
Did I ever tell you about my experience with swine flu?
No.
So freshman year of college again. I wake up one morning, like 6 a.m, and I've got a fever. I'm sick. I've got the flu. And that was like, everyone was really freaked out with the swine flu. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah.
And I was like, I wasn't throwing up, but I could tell I was sick. It's one of those days. I wait for student health center to come up to open up. I walk over there and I'm like, it's like late fall. So it's not too cold, but it's not too hot. And where we live, it never gets too cold anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like in sweats and sweatshirt. I'm freezing, but I'm sweaty, that whole thing. I walk in there and I'm like, I'm sick. I need some medicine or something. And like the student health center, they still shove the thing up your nose. Oh my God, that was the worst experience.
Yeah.
I hate that. It's so uncomfortable. And they were like, yeah, you've got it. You've got the swine flu. Like they were excited. Like we got one. Like
we got one.
And they gave me some sort of medicine. I think I don't even remember. My fever broke at 11, and I was fine after that.
Really?
That's all swine flu was. I had a fever and I was feeling sick, and then
there's nothing
that lasted for like 5 or 6 hours, and then after that, like like after you're sick, you're not 100%, but you're not sick.
Right. Yeah. All right. Well, good. That was nothing.
Yeah, but I mean, that's
a
all
fear
it was. Yeah, that's all it was.
And even here, look now. It goes, so far, there's no evidence that H5N1 is spreading between humans. But in the hundreds of cases where humans have been infected through contact with animals over the past 20 years, the mortality rate is extraordinarily high. So again, this whole article is nothing since they haven't even reported.
We'll be in masks again by November. I'm calling it right now.
Oh my God, please no. Please, I mean, especially that masks don't work.
No, can't say that.
YouTube's gonna, YouTube's gonna get rid of it now.
Well, sorry. Here, let me put this disclaimer out there. I want to believe Adam made a humorous comment that was a joke. Obviously, masks do work, and get vaccinated. And COVID is real, and it kills. Ooh.
Double mask too. Those work
definitely double mask it, and wear a face shield.
You see, Boston Dynamics came out with its Android now.
Yeah, I don't like its look. Let me just put it that way. It's got a flashlight for a head.
Yeah, it does. It does walk much cooler.
Yeah, let's watch a video. I'm interested to see how it walks, or interested to show how it walks. Okay, nope, don't like this.
Whoa.
Too weird. And too weird.
That's it for now. That's the tease we got.
I don't like that. That's way too Terminator-y.
It's way, yeah, it is very. I mean,
let's play that again. It's a short clip. I want to.
Look at that. That's really impressive. There's no huge battery pack.
Yeah, they've come a long ways from pushing around that four-legged dog thing they had 10 years ago. Look at it walking away.
We could be seeing these everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, they already have the dog things out on the streets helping the cops.
Yeah, New York has them. Farewell to Atlas.
Let's keep going. That's good.
Military researchers to brief industry in May on SCAN, which is artificial intelligence, analog neural networks. So not digital neural networks.
More Terminator stuff.
Yeah, that's exactly what this is. And they want them. So SCAN will develop new analog neural network algorithms for inferencing accuracy, robustness, voltage, and temperature variations, and scalability. This is for they want to integrate AI basically into analog sensors. Like
they couldn't even pick a name that was far enough from Skynet.
That's so true. Scalable analog neural networks. So yeah, they want what?
I just said yeesh.
Yeah, and this can really infiltrate anything then. If it's an analog one, it doesn't have to be a digital network. I still don't understand how they're going to make this. I mean, does that mean they're going to have brains? Because those are analog?
Well, their brains are just hard drives, right? Or, whatever those things you find in the basement of a big tech company. The big towers with a bunch of blinking lights that you see in the movies.
Oh yeah. Racks, yeah. Server racks. So that's what our government is spending on. It's
awesome.
a 54-month project.
What is that, 4 years?
Yeah, I mean, it just shows you how they're obsessed with AI. I mean, AI is just going to be in everything, literally everything. Would we even know reality? If
it already is, man. I'm telling you, it already is.
Analog neural networks. And this came out also last week.
NASA veterans propellantless. Sorry, it's hard to read. Propellantless propulsion drive. Jesus Christ. NASA veterans propellantless propulsion drive that physics says it shouldn't work just produced enough thrust to overcome Earth's gravity. Did you see the newest episode of the WWIII Files?
Wait, what was it about again?
0-point energy,
Oh
limitless
yes,
energy.
yeah. I did not finish it. I did start it though. It was about the car engines, the water engines.
Yeah.
And,
Spoiler alert: every time you come up with something that doesn't use traditional gasoline, you die. They kill you. Every single time. They buy your company, they buy your technology, they bury it, and then they kill you. They
kill the ones. Yeah, they kill the ones that don't want to sell their technology to be shelved. If you can't be bought out, you get killed.
All the ones that AJ covered, I mean, you can see it. He just goes, and then they were hit by a car and died. Like it's just like every single one of them.
Yeah, and Hecklefish when he's like,
and he brings up,
it goes downhill from here.
Yeah, he doesn't bring up 2 or 3. He brings like 15 people that have come up with inventions that, like this guy created an engine that reuses its own fuel. So and it would just recycle its own fuel. He could get 200 miles on a gallon of gas, and what he patented it. U.S. government took over the patent, and then he died. He got hit by a car.
Yes. I mean, our government is terrible, man. It's that act. It's called the Patent Secrecy Act of 1951. So
completely fucked.
Anything that's too disruptive, anything that frees humanity, you know what I mean? Anything that will seriously free us, right? Is just locked down, and it's bad for national security.
And then one guy who invented an engine that can run on water, I think this was him. He got hit by a car and then ran over by the same car. They ran over multiple times.
Man, that's so insane how they like hate these people too. They hate them.
It's just disgusting.
I mean, we're ruled by an evil force. It's obvious.
So this guy, my larger reaching point is that this guy is going to get hit by a car.
Well, if he's NASA, maybe like some things are allowed. I mean, but propellantless. That means there's no propellant in there to get into space.
Yeah. And guess what? When someone like figures out how to put that into a car, he's going to get hit by a car. He'll be hit by his own car, and they'll call it an accident.
This discovery of a new force is fundamental in that electric fields alone can generate a sustainable force onto an object and allow center of mass translation of said object without expelling mass. That's amazing. This is called the electric universe theory, and they're applying that to this. There are rules that include conservation of energy, but if done correctly, one can generate forces unlike anything humankind has done before. It will be this force that we will use to propel objects for the next 1,000 years until
the government and the government alone. And then he's going to get hit by a car.
Man, I hope that doesn't happen. But yeah, you're right. It just happens. We have to learn from history. Look at that.
Those who don't remember history are doomed to repeat it.
It's unfortunate.
Cool, though. I mean, I was kind of a downer. This is really cool technology, and I hope in my lifetime I get to see it used.
They use electrostatic. So I mean, this is nothing that new, but it's an electrostatic discharge. Really sick. So basically, just using the ether to propel.
Yeah, very cool. I mean, this is what we should have been doing from the beginning instead of tearing up the earth. We should be looking for ways that don't steal from earth. Just take from the ether. Yeah,
exactly. Which is just abundant with energy, and then you don't have to talk about carbon. And do we need solar panels all over the place and wind farms if we with these types of technologies? Nothing is wrong with.
And we don't have to have politicians tell us from their private jets that we're eating too much meat.
Eat the bugs. I saw that too. There was some post about eating bugs. Man.
I gotta send you a picture I found that I really enjoyed that I gotta send to you.
So if they're leaving orbit, I mean, that is a lot of power they're doing it from here.
Yeah, I mean, it's really cool stuff.
High vacuum testing. So this is from the debrief.org. We will link it so you guys can read it and understand. Breakthrough in 2023 produces 1 gravity of thrust.
Yeah, and please do read it. And if a shady person comes and gives you a bunch of money and says, run over that person with your car, don't do it.
It's not worth it.
It's definitely not worth it.
Validation, observations, and all that. All right, very cool stuff.
Yeah, awesome.
Our buddy Steven Spielberg has a new project.
UFO movie.
Yes, his next project will be a UFO movie.
You know, I actually just rewatched War of the Worlds, directed by Steven Spielberg, and
It's
I
not
remember,
bad, right?
yeah, actually, I really liked it. I mean, I know it's based on an older, like, I mean, it's based on a book, but there's been other movies made about it.
Yeah.
But I do hope he goes the more Close Encounters route.
Yeah, so, but will this be Spielberg in War of the Worlds mode or Close Encounters? I think it might be Close Encounters too.
I hope so. That's the more wooey one. A lot. It's more interesting, not as fun. War of the Worlds is all action and aliens and explosions, and it's definitely fun. Don't get me wrong, I like it, but
right.
Close Encounters is a little more thought provoking, I think.
Well, I get he'll likely make his new project a UFO film based on his own original idea. David Coep, do you know who that is writing the screenplay.
I recognize the name, but I can't say what he's done.
Let's see if we search.
But if he's working with Spielberg, he obviously has some clout.
American screenwriter. He's worked with Spielberg before.
Okay, then good. I've got faith.
And he's a director, most successful screenwriter of all time in terms of U.S. box office receipts. Oh wow!
Well, there we go.
Damn. So what movies? Oh, Jurassic Park. He made into a screenplay. Indiana Jones, Spider-Man, War of the Worlds.
Have you read Jurassic Park, the book?
Oh yeah, it was one of my first books that I actually finished. I was a teenager when it came out, and I just fell in love with Crichton for one. Because how he just depicted corporations and the amount of funding they have and what they get into. I mean, it was just it was really cool.
Crichton's great, and he definitely had a finger on the pulse of what big corporations were doing.
Yes, yeah.
I read a book of his. The first book I ever read by Crichton was called The Prey, and it's about nanotechnology. And I was just blown away. I read it when I was in high school. I'm pretty sure it was high school.
He's a great writer, just great writer. And
yeah,
the cool thing about the technology, he makes it real, right? He really uses real science.
It's not what I like to call like magical technology, where they just say, you know, here's some nanobots. He like actually went into detail about how like, you know, they broke down proteins and like made these little machines and all this other stuff that I went clearly over my head, but still, it's really fun to read.
He even did a time travel one, which is really cool. I forget the name of it now.
Yeah, well, rest in peace, Michael Crichton.
Yeah, he was a great writer. Definitely a visionary. Absolutely. Westworld was him too, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
All right. So there was another one. I don't know. I didn't think we'd get to this one, but it is a presentation about alien abductions. It's a really good one. So if people want to go through this, it's about an hour long, but he talks about a lot of. He just brings it back to consciousness too, and human consciousness and fear. Like at least the malevolent ones. He talks about a lot about there's a lot of fear in it, and that's why he thinks it's werewolves and things are natural because those are actually much scary. He goes, why isn't it Darth Vader? Why isn't it stormtroopers? But when it comes to like werewolves and Bigfoot and something like that, it's actually scarier to us because it goes deeper.
What's scarier, the Darth Vader or the werewolves and stuff?
No, the werewolves.
Yeah.
It's coming from nature. It's scarier than something technological.
Yeah, actually, there's a really good theory I saw online about that, and basically, the human subconscious. We know what we've done to nature, like we know what we've done to the earth, and so when it fights back, it becomes infinitely scarier because we know we deserve what's coming.
I know that's weird. From that show, Missing 411, about those hunters.
Yeah, that was a great show.
Yeah, there was that one about a hunter where they actually went to his house and took him. My first thought was, man, he must have mistreated the forest or done something really messed up to the forest or something like that. That was my initial thought. That it's sent like that's what Bigfoot is. It's like a spirit kind of animal where
for me, like I feel like I've done an okay job of reducing my carbon footprint or whatever. Like I don't litter. In fact, I pick up litter a lot. But I think one of the scariest things is you're paying for other people's sins.
Yeah.
So like when someone came after that guy at his house or whatever, he's not paying for anything he did. He's paying for what his neighbors did. And I think that's also like a human subconscious thing is where we as a whole deserve it. even though you
was
may
standing
not.
in front.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and no, I did it by accident. But I agree with you. And there is, I mean, because we are free will and we do live. The thing is, we can't control what other people do. So why would it be your karma though? In a way, if someone else does it, if it's based on free will, you know.
Well, I've got an interesting theory on karma, and it's not. If you do something good things will happen to you. I think karma is more about just balance in the universe in general. So something bad happens over there, that means something good happens over there, and vice versa. I mean, obviously you contribute to it, but I think it's overall about a galactic balance more than it is a life balance. But it is obviously it's a healthy way to live, doing good things and being kind to people.
I mean, the universe is a math equation, yeah. So you have to balance this out. So if you're doing something really bad, something really good has to happen somewhere else,
right?
Not necessarily to you,
right? Exactly.
Yeah, somewhere
that's why they always say, you know, bad things happen to good people, good things happen to bad people. It's kind of like that.
And that's why instant karma can be good. If you're someone that experiences instant karma, then all right, you know, it happens to you instantly and you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is a good presentation. It talks about even the reptilians. I forget if he's an experiencer or he researched it. But anyway, it's a great presentation. So definitely people should watch it. You sent me this, bro. This is
a jokey one. This is from the TV show What We Do in the Shadows. It's just funny. There's no conspiracy here. It's just a funny clip.
Yeah, we're pretty much done with the conspiracy.
Are we really? It's only been an hour 20.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, we hurried up like 3 or 4 of them.
Okay. Sorry about that.
The best ways to drain people's energy nowadays is via the internet. This woman is a astrophysicist. Actually, this is not how space works. Read a book. Now I just wait for the comments to come in. Hey, can you mansplain any louder? Yeah, sure. These are all different accounts that I have set up. The energy you get this way isn't quite as pure, but if you do enough of it, it'll fill you up. Shame.
Where is this from again? Because it looks like it's from the 90s.
It's not. This is just typical Reddit shit. This is from a TV show called What We Do in the Shadows. It's about vampires live in the modern day, but they're still like what he's talking about is like stealing energy, like negative energy from people.
So he's being a troll. Okay,
yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Shanghai sucked. Where was the Chinatown? Jason Mraz is just too weird for me. Jesus actually hates horses. Childhood obesity, LMFO. When they call you a dumbass, you know you've got them. They called me a dumbass. Women are getting too tall. Yeah. You can drain their energy via social media without having to even be near them. That is racist. You're correct. It is. Oh, yeah. 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 Oh, they hate me.
It's surprisingly simple to get total strangers completely furious with you.
They should get a life.
They should get a life. Perfect, man. Perfect. I mean, some of those, that's what I do just to get a response.
Yeah. I go through phases where I'll just say the most inflammatory shit. Like one guy on Reddit posted, he goes, "Am I the only guy that likes girl with small tits?" And my comment back was like, "Yes, you fucking moron. You're the only human male on this planet that likes smaller tits. Go call the president, call the newspapers, and get dipshit here a fucking medal."
Oh my god! Was there lots of downvotes on that one?
Oh no, I got upvoted a lot. Actually,
oh, you did.
his post got downvoted.
Interesting. Yeah, because Reddit sometimes, if you're being like too harsh, they'll downvote it.
Oh my god, Reddit sucks so much. But it's such a good place. It's not really a good place to get. It's a good place to get a lot of information, like cover a lot of different subjects. Like,
yeah,
that's why I'm always there for like conspiracies, different conspiracy subreddits, different UFO subreddits, and then if I want,
great.
You know, to learn what my favorite team in the world, the Denver Broncos, how they're screwing things up like they always do, I can learn it from there. It's all one site. That's why it's a content aggregator. That's why it's so popular.
It's just too bad a lot of them get deleted, right?
Yeah,
Interesting ones.
Like the concept of it. Okay, so I got to talk about this really quick. So remember when we shared that video from the Very Important People show?
Very Important People, yeah.
Okay, so I kept finding those clips online on YouTube. So apparently, do you know what College Humor is? Like the website?
Yeah.
Do you remember that? Like, okay, so they were really popular back in like the late 2000s, like 2000,
I remember them.
2009.
Mm-hmm.
They limped along for a few years and then ended up closing, but they rebranded to this thing called Dropout.
Oh,
and so they have all these different shows. Very Important People show is one of them. This is called Game Changer. This is another one of the shows on the network. Basically, they have all these really talented improv comedians. And this just on this show, Game Changer, and it's a game show, right?
Game show, yeah.
And so he'll give them the guy there who's laughing on screen. He gives them different prompts and they have to act it out. So that's what's going on here.
But it's brilliant. They're so talented.
They're absolutely hilarious. They're so funny. And I ended up subscribing to their to dropout.tv because I kept finding clips and just laughing hysterically. And I'm finding so much funny. I can't send it to you obviously because it's like a subscription service. It would be like sending you like a Hulu movie. I can't do that. But it's really cheap. It's totally worth it. And it's hilarious. But this is one of their shows, Game Changer.
So this is McDonald's newest sandwich, the Macbeth. Oh, this is great.
Ross, an ad for a new McDonald's sandwich, the Macbeth.
Do ye work up an appetite? Unseaming the foes of your liege lord from the knave to the chaps. When the dawn breaks, how shall ye break your fast?
Oh, shit.
The new McDonald's Macbeth, the only sandwich with meat taken from a cow that trusted the butcher with its very life. That beef is placed upon a bun along with pickles and a super special sauce. The new McDonald's Macbeth. It is a meal you shall wish to enjoy tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Oh my god, brilliance, man.
They have. I mean, so remember we were out for your mom's birthday a couple months back, and I was saying how I'm not a huge fan of stand-up comedy anymore. I think it's a really difficult format, but I don't find a lot of performers very funny because it's hard to. It's really hard to be funny when you're on your by yourself on stage.
Yeah.
And that's why I said I prefer group comedy more. And this is like, they obviously they each get their separate prompts and whatever, but it's group improv and comedy in this format. And I don't know. I keep watching these and they're just absolutely hysterical.
I love great comedy. All right. So Topher's corner.
Topher's corner. What do I have? So I didn't watch a whole lot of movies this week. I have been, obviously, like I said, been watching Dropout, what we just presented.
Yeah.
I watched this one movie that's kind of stuck with me. It was okay. It wasn't great, but it was pretty good. It's called In the Shadow of the Moon.
In the Shadow of the Moon.
Sorry. Yeah. In the Shadow of the Moon. It's a detective story, but there's a little bit of a sci-fi element to it. Very interesting concept. I was engaged the whole time. I think I think it's something you could watch with the whole family. Obviously there's cursing and stuff, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. Where I have on? That's on Netflix.
On Netflix, okay.
I also watched one of my favorite movies of all time, John Dies at the End. I'm sure I've even brought it up on this show before. It's a horror comedy. It's based on the first book in a series of books. I don't know if even the series of books have a overall title. The first one is called John Dies at the End. The second one is called This Book is Full of Spiders. The third one is called something like I can't remember. They've got really long and weird titles. There's 4 books out total. They're totally worth reading. Let me just give you I'm going to spoil the first scene of the book and the movie so you kind of get a glimpse of what these books and movie are about. these two guys, John and Dave, they're friends. They're paranormal hunters, but they're not really like professionals. They're kind of just doing it because they are the only ones who can do it. I won't explain further than that.
All right.
So this woman calls them and asks for their help. And so they go to help her. And then throughout the conversation, they slowly realize that they're seeing two different people. Like John is seeing a tall, blonde woman, very attractive, while Dave is seeing, a bookish, a dark-haired woman. And they go, well, how can we see the same person? And they realize that they've been lured into a trap by this entity pretending to be a woman. And they ended up getting locked in the basement, and a meat monster, a bunch of these frozen meats crawl out of this meat freezer and it builds itself into a monster. So it's got like a turkey for a face, and it attacks them, and it calls them by the wrong name, and they go, wait, we're not this person. That's this other guy. And they have this whole dialogue with this monster. It's goofy, it's weird, it's scary and gross, but like it's the duality of the humor and the comedy. It's the best. I just one of my favorite series of books of all time. And the movies,
Paul Giamatti, is that one?
Yeah. He's one of the main characters.
I like him.
Check out the movie. Definitely don't watch it with your daughter though.
No, yeah, not this one.
But I'd say it's more funny than scary, and it's just weird. It's just off the walls weird, which is why I like it so much.
And they're books, right?
They are books. There are 4 books currently, and there's one movie, and the movie covers it kind of. It's a good movie, but it only kind of follows the first book because the first book is super, super long. So they had to cut out the middle third, and so really the movie is an adaptation of the first and third of the movie.
Nice. Did you watch Dune Part 2?
I haven't yet. It's available to rent on Amazon, but it's so expensive. So I'm waiting for the price.
Like $25 or something, right?
Yeah, exactly. And if I'm going to spend $25 to watch a movie, I'm buying that thing. I'm not going to rent it.
Right. So that's what I did. I bought it. I'm like, okay, I'll watch it more than once.
Yeah, and I know I will too, and I'm looking forward to it. It's just not high on my priority list, but I do really want to watch it.
Yeah, so it's pretty similar to the first one, but still cooler. I mean, really a lot cooler. But man, the music in there is so awesome. The director of photography is amazing.
I don't even know how to pronounce the director's name. He's a very famous guy. I probably should know how, but he's a fantastic director. He did Blade Runner 2149 also.
Oh, that's why it's very similar to that. Okay.
Oh, wait, and he did Arrival. It was him who did Arrival, not Alex Garland. My mistake.
Oh, okay. So yeah, it has that same feel and just the landscapes and the big landscapes and that big sound. Really cool.
Yeah, he's a great director. And like I've said before, I really like the Dune movie from the 70s.
Yeah.
It's super psychedelic and weird, right up my alley.
It is super weird, that movie.
Yeah. But yeah, we've got some time here. Let's talk about Fallout a little bit. Where are you at in the game?
So not the game. I still haven't gone back to it. But but this series though, I've gotten up to number 6.
All right, so you're almost done.
Yeah, I think it goes up to 9, right?
I got 8 or 10. I can't remember. You're more than halfway though. Halfway.
Yeah. I'm more than halfway through. Yeah, definitely. I love it, man.
Yeah. Good.
It's a lot of fun. And just the concepts behind everything.
It's very obviously it's violent, but not like in too gross of a way. It's funny. It's weird. It truly feels like Fallout. It does.
Yeah, I mean,
I
really did such a good job though with like integrating the maps into the show, integrating the radio station, or that thing on their forearm. What's it called? Yes. So I mean, that integrating the way they integrated that is just fantastic. A lot of the characters are there, even the monsters are there. I love how they talk about the dog also. Now the whole head thing, that's theirs. That's just for this series, right? That's not in the game.
Well, I mean, I'm sure there's one of the games you carry a head around, but I mean, it's not like it's not a major plot point in any of the games like it is in the show. The show is its own separate story, but it takes place in the same universe. So it's not an adaptation. It's like a separate story that takes place in the Fallout universe.
It kind of reminds me of Westworld a little bit because of that cowboy. He reminds me of the same character in Westworld.
Yeah.
Right?
He's honestly the best character in that show. Of course, Walton Goggins. That guy never misses.
Yeah, exactly. And Nolan was also doing Westworld, so it's there's the tie-in there.
Yeah, you can see that there's some similarities there.
Yeah,
especially like just in the directing style. I mean, like the long-lasting cinematic shots of the scenery and stuff.
Oh, especially at the end of each episode.
Yeah,
those are really great too.
Yeah.
And so they integrated a lot of things from the game. A lot of things.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it's they did a good job. They clearly put a lot of effort into it. And what's great is I think it's a good show for people who like don't have any knowledge of the Fallout games can like get into this and like it.
Yeah.
But people who play the games obviously are going to notice a lot more and be like, oh my, that's that thing. I know that thing.
Yeah. And it makes me want to play the game even more when I watch the show. And that's what I wanted to do last night, but it got too late. Man, these shows make me stay up way too late.
It's not like the games are going anywhere.
No, yeah, exactly. And it was a great price, the game, Fallout 4.
Well, yeah, I mean it's like
it's old.
I was gonna say 4 or 5 years old at this point.
Right. Yeah. So I love when it's that cheap. So I mean that's all we have really, but I think the biggest news was that Kona Blue document that was leaked that talks about the advanced technology and retrieval of these whatever they are, retrieving it, analyzing them, and trying to reverse engineering them, and then having a consciousness center.
That part surprised me the most. But I mean, I guess it doesn't. It doesn't.
Yeah,
obviously,
right, because they've been doing it for a long time, right?
Yeah, the U.S. government has had a very significant focus on consciousness for a very long time now.
Yeah, so our government inside the government, this stuff is all known and open. That these objects are there, that we study them, that we down them, and try to reverse engineer the technology for ourselves. Well, mostly for the military.
And then they insult us by lying about it.
Yeah, exactly. We're all idiots, and then we have to. And while they're advancing their technologies, we're stuck in World War II era infrastructure. And we're blamed. We're blamed also for the pollution that infrastructure causes.
Yeah.
Right, instead of the secrecy. But people are waking up. Tucker on Rogan was huge, right? And them talking about that all week. And then hopefully that whistleblower comes out. Hopefully more whistleblowers come out. But I mean, so. For people like us, we're not going to wait for the government, right? We know.
We shouldn't.
Yeah.
It's a waste of time.
It is a waste of time because they're not going to do anything. All they're good at is spending our money. You saw they signed that bill to go to Israel and Ukraine, $100 billion. And this Mike Johnson didn't even include anything for the border. Nothing.
Of course not.
All they included was more funding for NGOs to bring in more of them. I mean, the GOP is a joke, man. The Uniparty is so dangerous. And this Johnson guy, he gets mesmerized by the intelligence community. They brought him into a skiff, put the fear of God in him, and he just believed them and went with them. He went along with so warrantless spying, right? TikTok ban, money for Ukraine, money for Israel, just all America last stuff, all of them.
I'm wondering, going back to the immigrant situation. I wonder if this is like a Dubai thing where we're essentially bringing in slaves.
Yeah. A lot of people saying that, and that's why the Republicans don't care, because the Republican donors, the owners of corporations, want cheap labor and illegal labor because they're not going to pay American salaries or American wages,
right?
And that's what they're okay with. That's what both sides are okay with it. Apparently, they were sending back like Cuban refugees and Venezuelan refugees because they're already anti-communist. So the Democrats were sending them back, but they're so one side. So this is why both sides are okay with it. One side wants voters, and the other side wants workers. And the GOP think that they can make these people into conservatives because they're Catholics,
Mm-hmm.
And the other side think that they can make them into commies. It's just ridiculous. And we're the American people. We're just here, taking advantage of, or
this conversation about immigrants and cheap or free labor has reminded me of another movie I watched earlier this week.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Code 8. It's also on Netflix. It's about I don't want to give too much away, but it's basically an allegory for illegal people living in the country.
Okay,
I'll put it that way.
All right, but yeah, so I mean, we might see it as a mess, but it's probably a grand plan from the owners of this country.
Yeah, and as we've seen, no matter if it takes 50, 60, 100 years, there's always a larger plan at play.
Yeah, I just, I hope they just don't collapse this entire system, because it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt big time. I just wish that, instead of us kicking the can down the road, we would have just tried to fix it in the past. But I don't know how many cans we have left. It might be why nuclear war is what they want too, because they need to reset the system. COVID didn't work.
Right. Well, we got all these billionaires building bunkers and finding desolate places to outlive, anybody else. It sure feels like it. I mean, it feels like they're teasing World War III every day now.
Yeah, I mean, definitely people should be prepping. That's for sure. You should have something, at least some bag, something to give you food for like a month or something, because, when shit hits the fan, it's going to be crazy out there. And it usually takes a while for things to get back to normal, if that even happens. Yeah, there was hacking too of our infrastructure last week that I didn't cover, of China.
Yeah,
they apparently did that. They hacked our stuff.
Yeah, the 911 lines were down in several states.
Right, and this was all happening with the whole Israel Iran thing. It was all in the same week.
It really felt like we were sitting on a powder keg there for a minute.
So maybe this Pepe Escobar is something true, to what happened. There's always something that happens in history where we were so close, but then nothing transpired. So
yeah, well, and it's also, that reminds me of the very famous phrase, history is written by the victors. We don't know about all of the shady stuff that went, that happened out in secret.
Right.
Because when I say win, put that in quotations, but we won World War II, we won, this thing called civilization up until this point. So we don't know all the secret, shady stuff that happened.
No, we don't. We only see the superficial things, like when they bring us into war. It's the lies that we see, like the Gulf of Tonkin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, cool. So, that does it for episode 68.
Now, if I wanted to find the Uncovering Anomalies podcast on social media, Adam, where would I look?
You can find us on X, formerly known as Twitter. We're there at UAP the podcast, and then personally, I'm there at Breakaway Civil, and Topher is there at Topher et al. So yeah, hit us up on X, follow us there. Both of our profiles are on the main podcast profile, so you can just click there, follow us, hit us up, let us know how we're doing. We're pretty quick at interacting on there.
You are. I have been really bad these last couple of weeks about checking my X profile. I'm not good about
I get it, especially X. It can be really draining and a time waster, and I'm trying to get away from it more, because man, sometimes it'll just be an hour. Just goes by like this. So
yeah,
it's a complete time waster, but it's great for research and keeping up to date with the latest trends and what's happening in the world. Definitely better than television and mainstream media.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You can find us on all podcasting platforms. Google Podcast is gone. I have noticed that, and you can now go to.
They deleted it, right?
Yeah, it's not working anymore. But you can go to YouTube Music, Spotify. Apple is still number one for us. Well, it's always between Spotify or Apple, and then YouTube Music, which is their new app. You can have your podcast there. Podcast Addict is up there also. That's a great platform. So yeah, just look for Uncovering Anomalies podcast and follow us on your podcasting platforms. We're also on many video sites. We're on YouTube, of course. We're on Rumble. We're on BitChute, and we're on Odyssey. BitChute is our number one video platform, by the way.
Woohoo!
Yeah, we do pretty well on there. And then Rumble, then YouTube is sometimes in there. Odyssey is a great platform, but we haven't really gotten any
no traction yet.
No traction yet on there. They probably want us there longer, but still, it's a great platform for free speech. They don't censor anything, Same goes for BitChute, which is probably why we have a better audiences on BitChute, right? Because these are people that left YouTube back in 2014 or something. The big purge, when that big purge happened, they pushed them all the way to BitChute. So yeah, you can find us on all those platforms. Let us know how we're doing. Any ideas for the show?
Anything you guys want us to cover.
Right.
We still need to get into our deep dives because I know we were going to talk about anti-gravity. It's just every time I swear we're going to do a deep dive thing, AJ ends up covering it first, and it's like, well, just go watch that because that's going to be way better than anything we can put together.
The good news with information and audiences is that, man, it is a big world out there. So even if it gets 5 million views or something on something, that doesn't mean everyone watched it. So it's always good when multiple people do things, because that's a much better way to get the information out. Because we all have our audiences. We all have also the right time to release something. Because that's what I've noticed about when something goes viral. It's also the timing, even the time of day, or even what's happening in the environment. So it's kind of random when something goes viral. You can never tell.
It's just a matter of rolling dice.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we could do a deep dive since what's happening with the government still not too. I mean, we did have some good leaks.
Let's see what happens in the next couple of days. If there's any big stories, we can do our normal format. But if nothing really big happens, we can start doing research on a deep dive.
Cool. All right, let's do that then. So let's wait till Tuesday. If by Tuesday it's like a slow news week, then we'll choose something. I think energy and anti-grav is a good one. The history of that, even though AJ covered it, but that was the only one because we did a poll weeks ago asking what people want us to cover, and that was the one that people voted on. Was the anti-grav one.
Well, cool beans. Thank you all so much for listening to the Uncovering Anomalies podcast. That is I Want to Believe Adam. And
yes.
I am. It is I, Topher. And of course, like I said, thank you all so much for listening.